Have you ever felt like it's almost physically impossible to ask for help, even when you're completely buried in something? Well, it turns out psychology has a very specific reason for this, and believe it or not, it's got almost nothing to do with pride. Okay, let's get into it. We're going to explore the real reasons behind this powerful trait of self-reliance.
And this, right here, is the core idea we're going to unpack. This isn't some kind of personality flaw. It's a highly sophisticated adaptation. Your brain literally learned from experience that the most reliable person to show up in a crisis was you. So what other people might look at and call stubbornness is actually something much, much deeper.
So, first things first, let's just completely dismantle the most common misunderstanding here, this idea that it's all just stubbornness. It's an easy label for sure, but it misses the entire psychological picture. See, this trait is actually a mental skill. It's built over years of watching systems fail, whether that's in our families, our workplaces, or even bigger institutions. When the support you're supposed to get turns out to be unreliable, your brain doesn't just give up. No, it shifts its trust inward. It develops this incredible capacity to manage really complex problems all on its own. So the question is, where does this mental operating system actually come from? Because you're definitely not born with it. It's built piece by piece from key life experiences that basically hardwire your brain for independence.
And psychology points to three big ones. First, a pattern of having to rely on yourself from an early age. Second, a learned skepticism of institutions. And third, adapting to emotional support that was, well, inconsistent. Let's take a look at each of these.
Think about it from a developmental standpoint. Kids who grow up with a little less direct supervision, they just learn to handle things themselves. For a brain like that, asking for help doesn't feel like a shortcut. It actually feels like an unnecessary complication, something that would just get in the way of a smooth internal system you've already perfected. You're not trying to be difficult, you're just being efficient.
And of course, this goes way beyond childhood. A lot of highly independent people have seen instability up close. Things like corporate layoffs, broken promises, systems that just don't work. When you see that happen again and again, you learn that the only person you can truly 100% count on is yourself. And this isn't some kind of rebellion, it's just a logical conclusion based on the evidence you've gathered.
Now this one is probably the most personal root of all. If the emotional support in your life was hit or miss, sometimes it was there, sometimes it vanished, your brain adapted. It just stopped expecting validation from other people. You learned to solve your problems quietly and to process pain by yourself. Not because you hate help, but because you don't trust that it will actually stay. It just feels safer to do it yourself than to risk relying on someone who might leave you to finish it alone anyway.
So, we've looked at the past, at the why. But how does all of this build into your brain's operating system today? How do these roots actually show up in your thinking and your behavior right now?
This right here explains the huge disconnect. On the outside, people might see things they call micromanaging, or being indecisive, or even emotionless. But the psychological reality, the real reason why, is something else entirely. It's cognitive complexity, a drive for mental efficiency, and a skill we call emotional containment.
Okay, let's break down that first one. Cognitive complexity is when your mind just naturally games everything out. It maps out every single detail, every possible angle, every consequence of a problem. So the mental energy it would take to stop and then explain that whole complex web to someone else, it often feels way more expensive than just solving it yourself. The point is, this isn't about being a martyr. It's a calculated decision for mental efficiency. And then there's this key trait, emotional containment. It's that ability to stay calm when everyone else is panicking. You're not emotionless, you're just internally regulated. You're processing all the feelings privately while you're working on the solution. It's a form of silent strength, really. It's the capacity to handle disappointment without breaking down on the outside.
And all of this leads to a final, really important reframing. Because this trait isn't just a defense mechanism. For many people, it evolves into a conscious philosophy, a genuine recognition of the power that's found in privacy.
I love this way of thinking about it. You've simply realized that not every problem needs an audience. Not every struggle needs a team meeting. By handling things privately, you maintain a level of psychological safety that honestly gets lost the moment you look for external validation, especially in a world that's constantly pushing us to share every little thing.
This just captures the whole idea perfectly, doesn't it? There is a quiet power in not revealing every part of yourself, in solving your own mysteries. In an era that's completely addicted to oversharing, this kind of self-containment isn't just rare, it's a real source of strength.
All right, let's bring all this together. It's really time to stop seeing this trait as some kind of character flaw and to start seeing it for what it actually is, a form of silent, hard-earned strength.
So let's be perfectly clear. What society sometimes labels as being too independent is not a deficiency. It's not something that's wrong with you. In fact, it's a testament to your ability to adapt, to endure, and to become your own source of stability in a world that is often anything but stable. And that quiet exterior, it's not a sign that you're detached or you don't have feelings. Far from it. It's often protecting a very deep inner world of thought and emotion. You are simply selective. Selective about who you trust, who you rely on, and who you allow into that inner world. And that selectivity, that is a sign of wisdom, not weakness. So I'll just leave you with this one final thought. Your independence isn't random. It's a logical pattern, one that was developed for your own survival and well-being. And once you really see that pattern for what it is, a blueprint of your own resilience, well, how can you possibly keep blaming yourself?